Okay, so hi everyone, it's Liam here from US Sports Scholarships and welcome to a very special edition again. For those of you who've been following us on social media, you'll know that we're joined here today by Jordan Rhodes, current Sheffield Wednesday and Scotland striker. Before I get into kind of asking some questions to Jordan that you fans have sent in during the week, and also going through his best 11, I'm sure most of you know who Jordan is anyway, but just thought he'd reflect on some of his stats here. So Jordan's played almost 500 professional league games now, scoring over 200 goals. A little known fact, I'm not sure if Jordan's aware, but he is fourth all-time in the Championship top scorers. During Jordan's career so far, spells at Ipswich, Oxford, Rochdale, Brentford, Huddersfield, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, Sheffield Wednesday and Norwich, getting a grin there, more clubs than Tiger Woods. Including that spell, also 14 caps for Scotland and 3 goals. Obviously Jordan's record speaks for itself. So first and foremost, thanks for joining us today, Jordan.
LB, nice to be here.
Good stuff. And what we've been asking everyone who have had on, so I think I said to you earlier, we've had some former teammates. We've had Tommy Smith, Shane Supple and Matt Holland last week as well. First and foremost, we want to know, what are you guys doing to keep fit during this lockdown period?
We've been quite busy actually. We've not really stopped. We've been going for a run in the morning, alternate days of doing all different bits and bobs, long distance and timed runs and things like that. Then doing alternate days of lower body, upper body, core, rotating around them 3 days, and then going for a bike for 45 minutes afternoon. So we've been right at it. So yeah. Feeling okay. So.
Is that a program that just like the head of fitness or your team that provides that everyone has to do? Are even the goalkeepers getting roped into this?
Yeah, I think so. They send it through on every Sunday night, so I think everybody kind of dreads the text coming through on Sunday night, not knowing what's going to happen in the week. But we've not stopped. So if the season does commence at whichever point that might be, then yeah, most of us will be ready to go in some sort of fashion. So we'll see.
And is it a bit of a teacher-student thing? Have you all got like heart rate monitors that report exactly what you're doing, or?
Yeah, a lot of them have got these polar watches, but by all accounts, they seem to have not been working. So the ones that have got Apple Watches have been pretty much, pretty okay with it so far. So
yeah. Good stuff. I always remember when we were younger playing at Ipswich that fitness was definitely not an issue for you. I always felt like no matter how fit I do, you'd always beat me in a bleep test. So I think I just gave up after that. So I'm sure.
We were not too bad, were we? The front men, which was pretty much unheard of. You were expecting midfielders and fullbacks, but we were always all right, weren't we, doing the running and things?
We were definitely being the operative term there. I've been saying to the people that have been doing Instagram Live, I've been doing a 5K each week and I can't get it under 23 minutes, which is a real embarrassment because one of our players reckons they did it in under 18, which I'm a bit sceptical whether he's attached that to his dog. But yeah, so as I said, great for you to join us. What I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is, as I said, once we put out that you were going to come on Scholarship School, we put out some ask any questions from people that are obviously interested in your career. So just going to run through them quickly. One that we've had with kind of all our players is people want to know is like, what was it like for you? And obviously I remember it well, is you making your professional debut. Tell us kind of the lead up to that, how you're feeling.
Yeah, I get asked this one a little bit, but then also at the same time, my professional debut came because I went out on loan to Oxford before I made my Ipswich debut.
Yeah.
My actual debut was for Oxford away at a place called Blythe Spartans.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was a real eye-opener into the world of football.
Yeah.
But yeah, my actual professional debut was coming on as sub against Burnley for Ipswich. I think with 20 minutes, half an hour to go. I don't really remember too much of the game. I think we drew. I think it was 1-1. I think I came on at 1-1, and yeah, it didn't change. So yeah, having the impact, being the impact sub.
So when you went to Oxford, though, obviously you went on loan. So I'm assuming, did you start that game then for your full debut?
Yeah. Started the. In fact, no, there was one before it. I think we played Woking on a Thursday night, which was on Setanta. I think that might have been my first one, and I came on for 10 minutes or something along them lines then. But yeah, my first real start was I think it was Blythe Spartan. So yeah.
I always remember, obviously, as a player, like in the change room with you as well, you never seem to be nervous. Very cool and calm player, which I guess you are, obviously, with your finishing on the pitch. Were you nervous going into that first game for Oxford? Obviously, at that point, your target is to make your debut for Ipswich, but are there still nerves, even though obviously it's still a professional game?
Uh, Not, I can't honestly. I can't remember. I must have been at the time, but you know, when you think back in your career and you think, um, I almost have the naivety of youth about me, and you
Yeah,
never really thought anything of the time. You just used to do things and take everything in your stride and strive for better and things. You never really had that moment where you get to a bit of an older age like now and think, actually, I was playing against 30-year-old men there. I was only 17 at the time. I should have been kicked lumps out of, but yeah, at the time, you just don't think anything about it. You just take it all in stride and do as well as you can, or what you try
yeah.
to do. So
I think that's an
yeah,
important point because I'm sure if you look at players like an extreme scale like Mbappe playing in a World Cup final at 19 and scoring, I'm sure there might have been a few nerves, but again, it's probably one of those things where when he does finish his career, we'll just look back and think, well, that was a bit insane.
yeah.
And kind of leading on to the next question, and it's kind of interesting because you've said that you've made your debut in the conference. Was that at the time or League Two?
Yeah, no conference. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously, how was it going to the pinnacle of not only English football but arguably world football, making your debut in the Premier League?
Yeah, that was something I always aimed or never even imagined really. Always dreamt of doing it, but never realistically thought that I would ever play in the Premier League. And when that moment came, coming on as a sub for Borough, I think we were home to Spurs. I think we were getting beat 2-0 at the time. Came onto a decent reception and just tried to run around in that 20 minutes or so that I did get on the pitch. I got a little header against Hugo Lloris, which it didn't go in, but I think it went on target. And that's as much as really I've had about Premier League level. But to just even get on the pitch was, yeah, a dream come true and something I never thought would happen. And
Yeah,
yeah, that I'll look back on now. You nowadays you get a football and it comes in like a glass case and it says you made your debut with this day at this time, and I think they give them all to the I think they give them out to the British players that make their Premier League debut like these days. I think they've been doing it for the last 10 years or something,
yeah.
and that's upstairs, and that's the one thing that I look back on and think, yeah, chuffed to have made that happen. That was surreal.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like talking to Matt Holland yesterday, is like obviously you can talk about playing in the Premier League, and then for him, like playing in a World Cup was the pinnacle. And he's just saying like those, few little memories stick with you, and that's when you're not sitting there thinking I've made it, but you look back and you think, well, I'm really proud that I was able to achieve that. Because, and leading to our next question is growing up. Obviously, that's what you dream of doing. So the question here from one of the fans was like, who was an inspiration or a role model for you growing up?
I guess having my dad play, I do say this quite often, but having my dad play, he was a goalkeeper at the time, and going along to support him on a Saturday afternoon, he was always a big inspiration of just to see him. That was his job, to go out at 3 o'clock, play football.
Yeah.
That just in my eyes growing up was the be all and end all, and couldn't really get any better than that. And that's all I ever wanted to do. Obviously, being an outfielder and being a striker, particular, it was looking at the likes of Henrik Larsson and Alan Shearer and Nistelrooy, the ones that really scored the goals and topped the charts at the times growing up. They were the ones that I really aspired to be like.
Yeah, no, I remember you thinking or fancying yourself as a bit of a cat as well at certain times in training, but I think your goal scoring meant that you probably never get a chance of being a keeper yourself.
I broke my collarbone and then just became fragile from there.
Yeah, exactly. I think I remember seeing that. I think they said that Pele's the best goalkeeper that Brazil have ever had as well, but because he was too good out on the field, they never let that happen. The next question, obviously, we talked about your goal scoring, which has obviously been a good habit of yours throughout your career, and even remember when we were at a young age, maybe tirelessly working and not scoring, and you casually scoring 2, 3, or 4 in a game. So I'll just say I must have got assists on those. But a really interesting, which I think will be a tough one for you, is that someone's asked what are your top 3 goals. They chucked that one in kind of in the last hour. Somebody's asked what are your top 3 goals, or at least one that really sticks in your mind.
Top 3 goals. different goals for different reasons in terms of importance and things. None in any real order. I think probably the best goal I scored was in the early days for Brentford, and it was my first one in a game away at Shrewsbury. Managed to take the ball on my chest and hook the ball back over into the far corner. That was probably the best one I look back on. Most important goal, probably for Huddersfield in the playoff semi-final against Milton Keynes. I think that goal on the day was decisive, and that took us through. And another one that really springs to mind is the second goal for Middlesbrough in a game away to Bolton. It was getting to latter stages of the season.
Yeah,
we had a habit of coming back from pretty late, and scoring the second close to the 90-minute mark. That was a special one.
Yeah,
going behind the goal.
Yeah, I think I remember watching that one actually. So I'm glad that you're able to pick some, because I think I'd find it difficult. I haven't seen a lot of your goals as well. So obviously an interesting one, because we played at Ipswich growing up together, but then obviously it does form such a small part of your career when you look back. But still, obviously people are still interested from this region in your career. And we've got a question here: that was it difficult signing for Norwich having played at Ipswich? So I'll see how you want to answer that one.
No, I've had that question before a few times. No, and do you know what? It wasn't. It was a really easy decision to make.
Yeah.
Which I know will annoy a few Ipswich fans. Norwich are a fantastic club, great fan base. I felt a real feeling of warmth and want from them from the day dot that they got in contact with me and sounded me out about going there for a season. And going there with the squad that we had, no expectations, and what a fantastic season it turned out to be. But going back to the area of East Anglia, which me and my wife still say at this moment in time still feels like home. Going back to East Anglia was definitely something that I enjoyed doing, and something that we won't rule out in future years, football or no football. We'd like to spend a lot more time in East Anglia from now on.
Yeah, good stuff. Like you said, it's an incredible thing to be able to go on loan to a club and then be part of a successful promotion campaign. So great memories for you, and I kind of don't blame you for that one. And obviously you've played more games now for Norwich than Ipswich anyway, so having done that season there. So another question, which again I can imagine how you're going to answer this, but someone said, do you think you'd have had the same level of success that you've had had you stayed at Ipswich for longer in your career?
Obviously hindsight is a fine thing. We wouldn't ever know that that question, but if I had to lean on one side or the other, I'd probably say no. I don't think I would have had the career and early success that I might have done had I stayed at Ipswich, being number 3, possibly 4 striker in a quartet, and that's if you were playing 2 strikers up front at the time. Who knows? Who knows if I'd have got much game time? Who knows if I'd have scored any goals or anything? So, to go to Huddersfield with a fantastic manager and good set of lads. I played 4-4. They played 4-4-2, which was great for a striker going in, because you knew that you were, going to be on the bench or get time on, or that if you weren't starting, that was going to be the case. And it was a real attacking side in League One, full of exciting young players. And we did pretty well under Lee Clark, and it was probably the best, looking back, probably the best decision that was almost made for me, really, because there was such a little desire from Ipswich to keep me at the time. It was made up for me to go to Huddersfield. It were a no-brainer to go there and enjoy my football. Yeah,
no, definitely. And I thought you might say that as well, because I mean, even having played with you, I knew that wherever you'd go, you'd get goals. But I think, you even surprised us with your form, both at Huddersfield and Blackburn. And hopefully we'll have a discussion about that a bit afterwards as well. Something that, again, we've had a common question from a lot of people is like, what would be your top bit of advice for any aspiring players, coming through now?
I would always say, just dedicate yourself to whatever sport or whatever passion that you have. If you truly have a desire to be very good at something, just dedicate yourself to it. Give 100%, whether that's living your life right off the field, practicing more than anybody else, get yourself fitter, just apply yourself in the best possible way to give you the best possible chance of being successful.
Yeah, no, that's great. And a kind of segue into sports scholarships and going into America is kind of the same thing that we say to all of them is, look, if you do as well as you can with your grades, you work as hard as you can with a player, even if it doesn't work out in the UK, you're then giving yourself the best option of getting the best scholarship in America. And obviously the chances of actually making it pro are still very slim in America. But, you know, if you're good enough after 4 years of playing out there, you're going to get picked up as well. So sound advice there. So that's kind of the grilling over with, you'll be happy to know, unless I think of any other questions. But what we'll do now is go into your best 11. In previous weeks, I've tried to second guess it, probably to the annoyance of people that are actually listening. So I'm just going to shut up at this stage. And if you, first and foremost, tell us your formation and then start with your goalkeeper.
I've gone very, very simple. I've gone 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Formation that I've always liked playing in. And yeah, we'll stick with that.
Yeah.
So in goal, I've gone with Victor Valdez.
Yeah.
Up at Middlesbrough, he doesn't need much introduction. The career he's had, the players he's played with, some of the best players in the world, arguably some of the best players of all time. Sharing a changing room with him for a season was very educational and a real honour and a privilege.
Yeah, no, that's great. To be honest, as I said, I was in previous weeks, I've second guessed, like Tommy spent a long time at Ipswich, Matt spent, so I can easily do it. But with you, because obviously you've had different experiences both internationally and with your various list of clubs, I thought I'm not even going to guess because he's going to pull out some worldies. And yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Valdez, but yeah, you can't really argue his credentials. But I guess a lot of people that listening would be obviously see that maybe as a surprise, just because obviously his impact in England maybe didn't replicate what he did in Spain. But I mean, if you've played at that level, obviously you're doing something right.
Yeah, no, I've mainly picked my team on the career that they've had and the success, the medals, the things that they've won in their career. I think it would be cruel of me to not do it that way, because some of the things that people have done in their career is admirable. And
yeah. So I'm guessing he was like towards the end of his career when he came to Middlesbrough. Interestingly, Matt last week was saying how even when he was captain at Ipswich in the Premier League, he'd still like pick Roy Keane's brains to see, you know, what are they doing at United? What are the benchmarks? Was he like a good insight and resource to how it was like at Barcelona?
Yeah, to a certain extent. He told some good stories that I won't repeat on here. And yeah, he was a very cool head, very calm. I remember one time in one of the sessions, because I told Frank quite like the keepers to be involved in the keep ball session and the outfielder sessions, and I can't remember if he was a floater or he was an outfield in the team, and he played midfield. And wow, yeah, he could have played midfield. It was that easy with his feet. He was just so comfortable and natural. And I think in his prime, the speed he had on his lines,
yeah. I mean, he arguably was kind of a game changer in terms of him and Casillas as well. These goalkeepers that effectively act as a sweeper, where goes over the centre back's head, you're pretty much certain that they're going to be there. Same with De Gea nowadays, so it must maybe be a Spanish thing as well. But I guess if he's training with Xavi and Iniesta every day for a few years, he might have picked up a few tricks or two. So I can't argue with that one. So going into your back fours, who have got right back?
Right back, I've gone with Max Aarons at Norwich. I think he's one that in 10, 15, 20 years' time we'll look back on and say, I played with him. He was 50 England caps, Premier League, 10, 15 years. So comfortable. So, yeah, people don't get past him. Good at going forward. Yeah, he's got everything that he wants to be in a right back. He was really successful last year, and it's for such a young player, so much potential to be wherever he wants to be.
Yeah, I know obviously him and other players like Cantwell came out really well from the season that's just gone by. So it'll be interesting to see if there's no relegations and Norwich do stay up, whether they're able to keep the likes of him. But definitely one for the future. So who have you got left back?
Left back, I've gone with Andy Robertson at Scotland. to see the things that he's gone on to achieve. Liverpool, probably the world's best left back at this moment in time.
Yeah.
There's a better one I'd like to know. Yeah, Champions League, potentially Premier League, give or take a game or two if they decide to carry on. It's he's got everything you want in a modern day left back.
Obviously, when you made your international debut and played your games for Scotland, was he at the time a starter? And obviously, his career's gone insane since then. Did you even know, geez, this guy is going to be something special?
You always thought he's got every attribute to be very successful. I think he was playing for Hull at the time, and it was him sometimes, Kieran Tierney playing the others. But because they're both really good left backs,
yeah,
obviously two didn't go into one, obviously. So
yeah.
I think we accommodated the system to play them both and at the same time. Then he got given the armband and the move to Liverpool, and he's just gone from strength to strength there, hasn't he? So
yeah,
he's.
I'm pretty sure if you were to make this team as well, that it'd suit your style of play, because obviously the amount of assists that him and Trent get is just unreal. Okay, yeah,
great.
Yeah, great fullbacks. Who have we got centre back?
Centre back, I was torn with, didn't know where to go with Grant Hanley or Scott Dunn in this one position, but I've gone with Grant Hanley.
Yeah.
Just on the fact of his international career. Both really good defenders.
Yeah.
Both really good friends of mine. Comfortable on the ball. Grant, terrific defender. Not many people get past him. He's quicker than what people give him credit for. And captain of a Premier League team at this moment in time. As I think Scott is club captain as well down at Crystal Palace. So yeah, two really good players, but I've gone with Grant in that number 5 position.
Yeah, you must have obviously played a lot of games. Were you at Blackburn with him at the same time as well?
Yeah. I originally roomed with him when I was in the Huddersfield days with Grant in the Scotland side.
Yeah.
And then met up at Blackburn for 3 years, and then found ourselves at Norwich together last year. So yeah, really good friend of mine, and it's got a lot of time for Grant.
Plenty of games and chances to impress you then, hasn't he? So no doubt, no wonder he's made the team. Okay, and who have you got partnering him?
Partnering him, I've gone for Jonathan Woodgate. Played with him up towards the latter end of his career up at Middlesbrough, but what a player. I think out of the team that I've picked at this moment in time, he's probably the best one. Anybody ever asked me who's the best player he played against, I always say Jonathan Woodgate. He was that good. Just 3-4 steps ahead of you at any given time. Just what a world-class defender.
Yeah, it's brilliant to get these insights. And again, obviously, I know that there'll be some viewers that might be shocked with that decision and what you're saying, but purely based on the fact that, and I can relate to, he's had a career that's just been, unfortunately, covered with injuries. And I'm guessing at Middlesbrough, like you said, it was the end of his career, but he was relatively fit while you were there, or?
Yeah, he was fit at the time. Yeah, but yeah, getting to the latter end of the career, and he always has a bit of a feel that he had a connection with the club, that he might go into the managerial side of things one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, even at that time, just in training, I've never really played against anybody like him ever. Just so cultured, so comfortable in that defensive position, just out on his own as being the best defender, best player I've ever played against.
Yeah, that's
Can't praise him highly enough.
Yeah, obviously he didn't have the best of times at Madrid, and obviously people might remember that. But at the end of the day, if you're getting signed by Real Madrid, you're already in that bracket of being a world-class player. So
Told some great stories about Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo.
Any that you want to share now, or is that for after the kill?
Yeah, after the camera. But yeah, fantastic. He just used to say, "What a player!" Oh, some of the things to be in Ronaldo's changing room as well. Oh, some play.
Brilliant stuff. So yeah, very strong back four and quite attacking, I guess, with your fullbacks, which is great. So looking at the midfield, starting with right midfield.
Right midfield. I'll have to go to the phone because I've jotted this down. Come prepared. Right midfield. I've gone with. Sorry, I'm gonna have to dig into my phone.
Didn't know if you'd had a last minute change of heart. You thought, actually, looking at the name, nah, you're not going to make the team.
Yeah, at right mid, I've gone with James Forrest
Yep.
at Celtic. Um, he was one that I remember playing early Scotland years on Scotland under 21s.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow, he's just got everything. He was incredible, quick, direct, cross it, finishing, and then he's gone on to have a really good career with Celtic. And yeah, just got everything in the locker to be a world class winger,
Yeah.
a real number 7.
He's just been unbelievably consistent for Celtic as well. Because obviously, you know, if you're playing for Celtic, the pressure is huge. I know a lot of people will ridicule the league in terms of, you know, the amount of times that they've won the league in recent years, but that pressure is enormous. And, you know, he's literally done it from day one when he walked into that team. And a former housemate of mine when I was playing in America was part of his youth team at Celtic. So he always used to talk about Celtic. He used to bore me about it. But he literally used to say all the time, like, Forrest is literally world class. He couldn't explain like how good he is, and particularly for his size. I think it just proves for any players out there as well that size doesn't have to. Well, you only have to look at Messi to know that, but that size doesn't have to be a dictating factor, because if if you're a top player, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and he really is a top player. He could quite easily play down in the Premier League for a top 8, top 10 team, and yeah, slot right in. He is and was that good.
Yeah, nice. So who have we got on the other wing?
On the other wing, I've gone Stuart Downing
Yeah,
at Middlesbrough. The career he's had, just a wand of a left foot, and both feet actually. He's the one player that I would say, having played with, that was left-footed, the best right foot for a left-footed player I've played with.
yeah,
He could, yeah. I know that should be taken as forgiven as a footballer. He was, he should be good with both feet, but yeah, can just smack a ball, can cross it. In the early days, some pace about him, and the dribbling and things like that at Villa, and playing for Liverpool as well. It's how many England caps he's got to his name as well. He's some
yeah.
player.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I just remember him again just being a super consistent guy, like a 7, 8 out of 10. He could always pull something out when they needed it. It's quite interesting you say about being both footed, because I remember even myself maybe criticising him, watching him, thinking this guy is one footed. But I think the reason being is because there's not many actual true left footed left midfielders. So maybe it was just that perception. But like you said, when he did need his right foot, he'd often cut in and he had a finish with him on his right foot as well. So yeah, great choice there. So we've got the midfield as well. So the bit that I'm probably most interested to hear about, not because I expect to find myself in there, but oh no, we've got the centre midfielders first. Who have we got centre midfield? Getting carried away here.
Centre midfield, I've gone Darren Fletcher.
Yeah.
Incredible trophy collection, Scotland caps, ultimate professional, worked so hard, covered nearly every blade of grass on the pitch, and just incredible athlete. I think his attributes speak for himself, and the trophy cabinet that he's got at home's probably incredible.
Yeah, and when you played for him, because obviously, again, he's someone who has had a career that's had, well, not necessarily injuries, but also illness as well. When you played with him, was he coming out of that phase of his career, or was he about to have those kind of?
Yeah, it was a bit before and after, and there was a lot of questions as to the illness and the way that he spoke and about it, because I think he was one of the first real players to get sort of. I think he got quite bad and was quite worrying at one stage and lost in a load of weight. But for him to go on and still play Premier League football and still have a career for the next 3, 4, 5 years, having recovered from the illnesses, has to be admired from any fellow professionals that are playing the game.
Yeah, I think like you said as well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at how successful he was at United, but also not just to be a squad player, I think Park Ji-sung was similar. Like Fletcher was the man when he needed him, when it was the big games at the time against Arsenal, Champions League finals. Sometimes people question Ferguson and say he's left these, big names out, Fletcher's in there, but at the end of the day, he was just such an important part of that team as well.
Yeah, came up with some really important goals. When you turn on the TV and you watch Premier League years, he's always popping up, scoring important goals in Arsenal's, Chelsea's, headers, and he was an important player for Fergie.
Top player. So who are you pairing him with?
I couldn't choose, so I've got half and half with this one. I've got David Dunn and Danny Murphy. Honestly, couldn't split them. Two really, two really important midfielders. They were coming to the latter age of the career down at Blackburn when I played with them, but both willing to help, and you could see that they were both really good in terms of coaching and helping pass the knowledge on to the sort of the younger players. Yeah. Danny's obviously gone into the media side of things, whereas Dunny's gone into the coaching side of stuff, but vice versa, if that role applied, they'd both be equally good at it. Yeah. And yeah, again, going with Darren Fletcher's sort of side of things, you can turn on the Premier League years from 2000 onwards and see Dunny and Murph just scoring goals and playing in, and just established Premier League players for the best part of a decade. It just a lot to be admired, and very successful at what they did.
So both amazing players, but not enough to sacrifice one of your forwards for a 4-5-1, but that's fine. What I'd say, obviously, again, like looking back at both them players, I mean, Murphy was like the best support act for Gerrard, who's arguably the best midfielder in the world, and only really the likes of Xabi Alonso can I recall that really did that role as well as Murphy. I saw something the other day where he regretted maybe living, Liverpool when he did. But again, it's these players who they leave these top clubs, they go to other Premier League clubs and are just as influential, not just for a couple of seasons, but 5, 6, 7 years. David Dunn, you know what, I think Soccer M killed him, because the only thing I remember is that attempted, I don't even know what you want to call it. I don't even know that type of pass with your other, not your standing leg, and just going completely wrong. Did the lads used to wind him up about that, or was that not talked of?
Yeah, it wasn't really talked of, because I think it was about for a long time then, but he was the first one to make fun of himself and that side of things. He was good in that way, but yeah, I think he realised. I think he used to tell the story, or he has told the story on several podcasts and things from the time. So it is a good listen if anybody gets the chance to hear Donny explain that little event at St Andrews.
Well, I think, like you said, again, throughout this team that you've listed here, two guys that, again, you can just rely on week in, week out. Were both of those that you played with at Blackburn, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, so getting to your two forwards, who have you gone for?
I've gone for Timo in one of them, Timo Pukki. By far the best finisher I've played with. Can score any sort of goal. He's quick. Can finish everything you would want in a goal-scoring striker. The things he did last year for Norwich, his goal-scoring exploits were incredible. A real humble man, real nice guy, and somebody that you want to do well in your team, because he's such a nice guy.
I think that's an interesting one for you as well. Obviously, I always felt like you're a nice guy as well, but still ruthless in front of goal, but a very nice guy. Is that must be a difficult one for you, because you're sitting there, and I know it kills you not to be playing, but it also helps as a team. And I think if you look at teams that do go on to win the league and championship teams, they have got that togetherness that, whether it's me or him scoring or someone else in the team, as long as we get the win and we ultimately get to our team objective, that's what's important. Was it kind of that one for you? Obviously, you want to be the one putting the ball in the net, but if it's not you, you're happy for it to be him as well?
Yeah, exactly that. He's a real gent of a man, and we had a really good relationship there at Norwich. He was on fire. Everything he touched just went in. He was just on fire. And the time that I got to share on the field, whether we were mid-trailing or drawing with 10 minutes to go, it was a real honour to go on up there and help him out. Hopefully a couple of assists in there as well, helping him out with a couple of goals. But yeah, what a great finisher. Yeah, predator.
And obviously, he hit the ground running when it came to the start of the Premier League season, and naturally, it's difficult to maintain that for the whole season. But I did see Chris Sutton eat some humble pie, because they dug out a clip of him when he was playing at Celtic, and Sutton just saying, this kid, he's just not good enough for this level. And then you fast forward it like 10 years, and he's obviously doing the stuff in the Premier League. So, an interesting one, I guess, because he's done it arguably a bit later than other people would have, but he's definitely shown that he's at home in the Premier League as well. So who else have you gone for up front with him?
And then the other one I couldn't split again. I've gone with a double. I've gone with Alvaro Negredo up at Middlesbrough. Played with him, former Man City striker, and Nuno Gomes used to played with him at Blackburn. Used to play for Portugal.
Yeah. Always
again,
England.
Yes, he did. Yes. Nuno having the career that he's had, a real classy guy, 80 odd Portuguese caps in the side that they had at the time. Just incredible, just a lot to be admired. And then Alvaro, a real powerhouse of a man, incredible touch, a great foil for another striker to play off of. He was a monster of a striker, and I think two very good strikers there that I just couldn't split in. Just couldn't pick one or the other. It was a disservice to both of them.
Which one would you say is the better finisher, or is that too tough to call as well?
Nuno was more cultured in his finishing in terms of side foots and flicks and deft little touches. Alvaro had some strength in his side foot or power. He was, he could score a header, whereas Nuno would probably the one pulling out of a situation of the box, coming to the edge of the box for a little cutback, whereas Alvaro would, get over and get behind a defender to leap over the top to head one in. So, two very different strikers.
It's unbelievable. Three forwards there. I feel like Negredo would probably do pretty well with Pukki as well, I guess, in terms of the knockdowns and flick-ons and everything. I heard a story about Negredo that when he first went to City, I mean, the form he was in was literally like Football Manager FIFA stuff, wasn't it? It was absolutely incredible. Obviously, he's within a team that's creating a lot of chances, but I heard that his family went to watch him, and like you said, he literally was a beast. His nickname was the Beast. Is obviously they chant Beast when he's coming on, and his family thought they were booing him. And they were upset about the thought that they were booing him, but they were just saying he's a beast. But I think obviously at Middlesbrough, okay, he didn't score as many in the Premier League, but when you're a team that's in the bottom half, you're not going to be getting 20, 30 goals. But it was clear, the times that he did play, that his talent was just unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he even got, I'm sure he got double figures that year. Borough went down, but he had the similar sort of crowd reaction up at Borough as he did at Man City, where everybody referred to him as the Beast. So he's a real monster of a man. And
to be fair,
both of them in their prime.
If he'd have joined like City in another era, he might have gone on to have like an Aguero-esque 10 seasons there. But at that time, they were just going through players ridiculous, weren't they? Great. So we've got your 11 there. I'm going to chuck this one in there. Like, who you would have as captain in that team?
Captain, I think it would have to be Jonathan Woodgate. Just somebody to lead from example. Could just set the standards in terms of discipline and examples in training standards. It would have to be Jonathan Woodgate, probably.
And then the next thing I'm going to ask you, which a couple of the lads haven't felt comfortable answering or sat on the fence with, who would your manager be?
Who would the manager be? What, having had manager, had been manager of me in the past, or anyone involved? Yeah,
so a manager that you've had that would manage that team. I mean, Matt sat on the fence and put himself as manager because he wasn't in the team. So I'll give you that get out of jail card if you want to play
it. I'll choose that. I'll be the manager. Yeah, there's too many managers that are still going now that might need their help on in future years.
But to be fair, obviously you've had some brilliant managers throughout it, and like you said, even if you look at the start of your career, the likes of Lee Clark, who no doubt I'm sure would have been up there because he gave you that springboard to really take your career to the next step, and then you've had others that have helped with promotions as well. So just to run through that, I've got here Valdez in goal, Aarons at right back, Robertson left back, Hanley and Woodgate, Forrest Downing, and then Fletcher and either Dunn or Murphy, depending on who's fit or whether it's a cup game. And then we've got Pukki and either Negredo or Gomez. Good stuff. Well, thanks again for sharing that with you, and obviously some great insights. I guess the last thing, obviously, speaking to you here from US Sports Scholarships, and when we went through it, I think, we were both scholars at the time at Ipswich. I think we had maybe someone come in and talk to about it. And for me, it was just kind of a no-brainer. I just to get your insight and thoughts on it, the whole process, and whether you think that would have been something that would have been suitable for you had you not made it.
Yeah, I mean, my brother went through a similar sort of ordeal. He was going to Hofstra out in America, and it never really paid off in the end. But what a fantastic opportunity and chance for people to go out there and enjoy football whilst getting an education, the lifestyle. I know a lot of people that do go over there end up getting their card and staying out there.
Yeah.
I can only imagine it's a fantastic chance to take up whatever sport, boy or girl, whatever it happens to be, to go out, enjoy your life, enjoy your young life while you can. You've got no ties and responsibilities, and yes, I can only imagine great chance to get sort of great coaching and good facilities as well. And actually, the attendances, of which I've only learned further on in my life, the attendances and how well supported and followed by the American people, you can really get noticed, and there's a real feeder into the into the American football side of things.
Yeah. I think, like you
that
said, well, it's almost like again, it will probably always be the fifth most popular sport, but it's definitely grown, and Beckham's, attributed to that, the likes of Henri. But it seems like a lot of players that are looking to go out there a lot younger in their career, and it can really help them. Out of interest, are there any lads that you've played with that have gone out to play in the States in MLS?
Well, obviously knowing Tommy really well, and having known him go out over, a few players. It's becoming more and more frequent now, isn't it, with the sort of the English and the European players going over. But by any means, I think it's a real physical league, and it's not easy, even for the ones that are maybe aging and getting towards the end of the career. It's not easy going over there, because they're such young lads and international pedigree. It's very tough to go over there and establish yourself and play as well as what you would want to do.
Yeah. Well, sounds like it could be a future challenge for you then, Jordan. So we've heard it here first. We've got an exclusive. MLS clubs, look out, Jordan Rhodes before the end of his career. But in all seriousness, thanks again for your time, Jordan. Great getting some insights, and stay safe. And we hope to see you out there scoring again soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.